Morning, Luke.
Hey.
Hey, we're going to shoot a video today, mate, for YouTube. What are we doing?
I don't know, mate. Let me get a coffee and I'll get back to you. I know, the Breville Precision Brewer. Is it the Employee of the Year? I don't know, but it's pretty close. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Artisti YouTube channel where we guide you through all things coffee. And so you don't miss out on any of our latest content, hey, make sure you do like and subscribe and hit the bell and you'll be notified when we pop up our latest video. Now, today is a little bit special because I want to introduce you to a staff member that is just here every day. I reckon they're the #1 staff member. They always turn up, they're super reliable, and they keep the team just motivated all day, every day, and I reckon they are in the running for the Employee of the Year. I'd like to introduce the Precision Breville Brewer. Now, why do I say that? Well, because I personally and the team here drink heaps of batch brew. And it wasn't until we really have come down a couple of years now of having a Breville brewer that we realised it is such a big part of our daily ritual, but we haven't shared it with you. So as much as we call it the Precision Brewer, it does a whole range of different brewing devices. And we don't technically use it for all those other variables that it can be used for. But a few of those things, it can actually be used to make cold brew. It can do a V60 automatic pour over for you. And obviously it can do batch brewing. But when you talk about that actual batch brewing side, there's a few different ways it can be done. It comes with a cone filter, which is our choice. That we normally use. You can get a metal filter here, which basically means you don't have to use paper. It's a different shape, so that will brew differently. You can brew direct into here with a much larger style old drip paper basket in there if you need to. So it is quite flexible. In your pack, you do have another couple of different devices which you fit in place, which will disperse the water differently for those cold drips or the pour overs. So again, check them out and see if that's a product that you want to do more than one thing with. So if you needed one device to cover a lot of different things, it is kind of cool. You could set up a batch to do cold brew overnight, then wake up in the morning and then basically brew yourself a hot product, all using the one product. So it is quite versatile all around. It does have a timer setting, so you could pop some coffee in here before you go to bed and then basically have it brewed ready in the morning. Honestly, it's not something we would normally do, but when I look back, that is something where we've been caught. We're trying to be somewhere and on the road, 4 o'clock in the morning, we can't get an espresso. That would actually be really great for us in that circumstances to have a batch brew to start our day rather than getting some other instant alternative. So don't go there. Grab one of these and set it up. I think that's a much better option for your caffeine kick in the morning. So it can do a whole range of different things. You've got from 1.8 litres right down to really small batch brewing if you want to. If you're going to get down to your smaller brews, 300 mil, if you're by yourself and want to do a small batch, there's a couple of things you've got to look at is how you actually set the device up, the temperature that you set it up, and the volume and your blooms. They're all going to be affected when you start to go to a much smaller brew. One other thing to note, the thermos, if you haven't preheated it and you do a small batch, it will suck all the heat out of that small batch and make it cold. So recommend giving that a bit of heat up if you're going to use that one. What else? It can change the water temperature. It can change the flow of those as well. So there are so many great things that you can do if you've got a dark roast or a light roast coffee. So we can dissolve dark roast coffee a lot easier, so we can go a lower temperature, or with a light roast single origin, we can go to a higher temperature to get your TDS of the actual liquid that you're trying to drink and enjoy. So we don't want to over extract a dark roast coffee, so we can't have a standard temperature for everything. So just be doing a bit of research if you're looking into those different temperatures and the blooms, so that you can get the batch that you're after in the end. So I'll just take you through the menu to show you a couple more of those cool features and how you can access it. It is really simple. So just waking this up, I can show you all the different settings that you've got. So if we start at the top, you've got a fast setting. And basically that means that it's going to be pouring the water quickly for a short amount of time through your coffee bed. The problem is you're going to look at under extracting coffee if you do that. I'll come back to the gold in just a second. The strong, essentially, that means that you're taking a longer amount of time to put the water on the coffee bed and you can be over extracting coffee. You've got your over ice, which is the ability to brew onto ice essentially, which is basically taking a hot product and cooling it down rapidly. That's kind of cool. My brew is the ability to change everything. So you can then go in and change your bloom time, your actual brew temp, your flow rate, and the actual brew method that you're going to use. So you're going to use the cone filter, the metal filter, or the traditional larger paper basket filter. So totally customizable if you need to there. So I'm going to just go back to this one here, and you've got cold brew. So I mentioned that you can have basically cold brew, and it'll take a fair amount of time overnight to brew that essentially. Then you've got your settings. So set the clock, your sound, your standby. So if you do want to set that up to go off in the morning, you can certainly do that. The filter, which is the actual cone or whatever basket you're choosing up the top there to allocate it in, and then exit. So that's really quite an easy dial, and it's just, you know, selecting enter, start, stop, or auto start. So auto start basically runs from where it's telling me to fill the tank, so you can't do that unless you've got water in there. So it tells you all the things that it can and can't do. So there's a couple of great sensors that are in the unit. The gold setting, that's what we use all the time. It is the SCAA standard for a batch brew system. So it's a set amount of temperature, the set bloom, and the set time for the water to go onto the coffee bed. Now we always use here the cone setting, which is a maximum of 1.2 litres, and we find that that's perfect with 65 grams of our single origin, which is a light roast coffee. So that is amazing. That's our standard. That's what we love drinking day in, day out. So to show you how easy it is to run one of these with a gold setting, it's really quick. I'm just going to grab one of these Filtropa papers out of the pack, open it up. I've got my cone filter in there. Pop that in. We've got our Popayan single origin of the month. It's a Colombian, it's a washed, so that's what we're using at the moment. So I'm going to just quickly grind one of those off, and we have that what we call on grind 6, which is a paper filter setting. So I'm going to grind that straight in. So when you do pop it into your paper filter, you can wash that if you like as well. Generally, they're getting better and better, the paper filters. Some people love to wash, others don't. But if you're in a hurry, you don't have to. Just make sure you do get all your coffee grinds in, but do get it level. Just take a moment there just to spread that out so that it is nice and flat and level in the paper filter. Pop it in. All we need to do is add 1.2 litres of water. And that is the recipe that we have on our card that is online. If you want to check out these at our store, you can actually get those details, but it's 65 grams, 1.2 litres of water on the gold setting through the paper cone filter. So that is going to be a really good standard, nice and easy to use. Put your lid on and hit go. There you go, gold setting. Hit go. It says insert carafe. Sometimes it does like you to take it out and pop it back in again. There you go. It's heating and it's ready to go. It will make a little bit of a pump noise, so don't freak out. That is the pump that they use in the normal coffee machines. It may wake you up in the morning if you're the only person in the household, but it's nothing like an espresso grinder going off. It's going to wake everyone up in the house. So I think it's pretty tolerable for that home environment, first brew in the morning. So in about 4 minutes, that'll be basically done, and you'll be ready to drink and enjoy your coffee. And for those keen eyes out there, you may have seen in the menu that it does tell us to descale our unit at the moment. So that is a preset setting that comes in because when you use the brewer for the first time, it does have a test that you should do to tell you how long you need to descale based on the TDS and solids of your water. So if you set that up properly, the descale basically will be in line for the water hardness that you have for your local area. Basically use a nice filtered, good quality water. And that's always going to make coffee taste better. No matter what you're trying to brew, filtered water is always the best. So are there any negatives to the Breville Precision Brewer? Well, yes, there are a few little things, but again, are they going to stop me from buying this product? No, they're just some little tweaks that you'd like to fix, perhaps in a newer model. Maybe a removable water cartridge so we can actually take that over to the sink rather than having to pour into it. You can never get everything out of this actual canister. There is always a little bit in there, so if you do feel like you've run out and you want to get a sneaky little half shot, there is still some left in those thermoses. Look, there's a little bit of plastic in there that, you know, would always love to get some long-term durability. We'll see how these things last. This has been going well for 2 years, but obviously when it's plastic, they can deteriorate over time. The shower head dispersion, you know, it is a great little silicone dispersing shower, but perhaps having some more flow and basically dispersing that out a little bit. It still does drop into the center of the coffee when you've got such a large cone. So I think a way to manage that a little bit would be ideal. Other than that, it's a thumbs up. I'm really happy. It's not going to stop me buying them or recommending them to anyone, and I hope that you guys have the same experience. So there you have it, guys. It really is an easy batch brewer for anybody. You can have a super geek version if you want, or you can just keep it plain old and simple and just pump out those batches for you and your mates in the office all day, every day. So if you've got one of these, I'd love to hear how you set yours up with your personal preferences. What's your recipe, your bloom time, what kind of coffee do you use? And tell us about your results in the comments below. Guys, if you've got any other questions, hey, feel free to chuck them down below. We do love answering them. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoy your next brew. Cheers. That's great.